Welcome to this installment of Cooking with John, and today we're going to be working on a white wine and chicken pizza with fresh mozzarella. To start us off, we will be taking our yeast and a little bit of sugar, dumping that in a bowl here, and to that we're going to add 6 tablespoons of water, and we will mix that up here a little bit, and we will set that aside. Next, we're going to take our olive oil, our white wine, and keep in mind that if your wine is not something that's good enough to drink, then you probably shouldn't be using it. Now, the white wine I'm using is wine that we make ourselves here on our ranch, and in addition to this, we're going to want some salt. So we're going to mix all these things here in a bowl. There's our wine, our olive oil, and our salt. And we'll give these guys just a little bit of a mix up here. Alright, to that, we're going to be adding our flour, honey, and our yeast mixture once our yeast mixture has a chance to sit. So, we now have our yeast mixture here that's been sitting for about 5 minutes, and we also have our mixture of our salt, wine, and olive oil. We're going to mix all these guys together. We're going to add our flour, and mix this up a little bit, as well as the rest of our water, our honey, and usually at first using a spatula helps, but quickly you want to switch to using your hands. Make sure your hands are good and clean. And this dough is usually pretty sticky too. You want to form a ball here. It's starting to come together now. See there where it's starting to form a nice ball, but it's not quite there yet. And then once we have this mixed up, we're going to let this sit for about 45 minutes in a warm space, not too hot, because we don't want to kill the yeast, but we want to let it just sit there for a few. So here you can see there's my nice dough ball. It's solid, there's nothing falling off of it, and at this point this is ready now to sit. But before we do that, we want to take our olive oil, and I prefer to use extra virgin olive oil, and just pour a little bit on there, so that way when it's sitting in the bowl and it's expanding and stuff, it's got a nice coating of oil on it, so it's not sticking to the bowl or sticking to you or anything else, and it's just making a little bit better crust. So today's pizza that we're going to be making is going to be chicken, and I've got some Foster Farms chicken here that is skinless, boneless, ready to go. I'm going to do a slice of that up and saute that here in a little bit. I've got some fresh mozzarella, some extra sharp aged cheddar. I like to use pre-minced garlic just because I go through so much of it. We've got some balsamic vinegar, extra virgin olive oil, and basically the olive oil, the garlic, and the balsamic vinegar is going to be my sauce for today. Rather than using a more traditional red sauce, this gives it kind of a more bold flavor, especially when we're using real fresh ingredients. For instance, we're using organic fresh basil, we've got red bell pepper, fresh mushrooms, sun-dried tomatoes, and sweet red onion. We're going to have a really nice medley of flavors here with some fresh ingredients. So I'm just simply quickly and easily slicing up some of the mushrooms here. So we've got our mushrooms, and now for red bell pepper here. Generally you want this all to cook on the pizza when it's in the oven, but keep in mind that you're only in the oven for a short amount of time. So things have to be thin enough and small enough that they actually cook in that time frame. And finally we have our nice big red onion. We've got our onion cut up. We've got our mushrooms. We've got our red bells. Set the rest of the red onions aside for later. And we've got our sun-dried tomatoes. So our veggies are good to go. So I've got my chicken breasts here, and you'll notice I'm using a different cutting board than what I was using for my vegetables, so everything stays sanitary, because chicken can potentially cause kind of problems for you, most notably salmonella. So we want to actually slice this up thin and pre-cook it. That way we're getting this up to temperature to 165, so that way when it's cooking on the pizza, we're sure that it's done and that it's cooked, and all we're waiting for with the pizza is for the vegetables to soften, for the dough to cook through, and for the cheese to melt. So I'm just kind of giving it sort of a splash of it. Gotta have garlic. It's Italian. What else are you going to do to have garlic? Fresh basil leaves here. And we want this whole thing nicely covered in green. And oh, this smells so great too. Nothing better than the smell of fresh basil. Oh, wonderful. So I'm going to bring back over now my chicken that I cooked and set aside. I'm going to layer this in here. And that was 3 chicken breasts, and that's enough, as you can see here, for about the 2 pizzas that I'm going to be making today. So now I'm going to come in here and grab some of my red bells. Give it some nice color to this. We got the white of the chicken, we've got the green of the basil, and we got the red from the bells. And now we got our red onions, which are actually more purple. And again, this is just about a handful of mushrooms, about 5 or 6 mushrooms for this. And we're going to sprinkle on these sun-dried tomatoes. It's this explosion of tomato flavor when you bite into one. And you can use fresh tomatoes in it. I love fresh tomatoes on a pizza, but they tend to make the pizza soggy. And what most people have probably never tried is if you're going to use fresh tomatoes, cook the pizza, take it out of the oven, and you know how you have to let the pizza sit for a little bit so that the cheese sort of sets up for a few minutes? While the cheese is setting up, slice thin your tomatoes and put them on top if you've got to use your fresh tomatoes. And we've got fresh mozzarella. So I'm just going to cut slices, as you can see there. They're about 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch thick. Alright, so now you can see we've got our cheese slices on top of that. I'm going to grab my extra sharp aged cheddar, and you don't need yellow. Yellow cheese is just simply food coloring. It's there for no reason at all. Cheddar should be white. It should be rich, pungent. It should hit you in the back of the throat. Really yummy, good stuff. Sprinkle a little bit on the top here, just give it a little bit added flavor of the cheese. There we go, all ready to go into the oven now. Alright, so now we're ready. The pizza's been in the oven for about 20 minutes, 15 minutes, somewhere in there. Take that out. You can hear that sizzling there. That means that the juices from the vegetables have cooked and they're extracting out. You can see that the cheese is browning on top. It's fully melted, so you're not getting those big clumps of cheese. The crust is a nice golden brown, and when you lift it up, you can see that the whole thing is lifting up as a whole thing, which tells you that the crust is nice and crispy. So there's our after, and there's our before. Enjoy.
You know I love that organic cooking. I always ask for more. And they call me Mr. Natural, on down to the health food store. I only eat good sea salt, white sugar don't touch my lips. And my friends is always begging me to take them on macrobiotic trips.